I call this meeting of the Cleveland Heights University Heights City School Board to order. And Mr. Zucker.
Mr. Coble, Ms. Pepler,
Here.
Mr. Register, Mr. Silverman,
Here.
Mr. Zucker here.
Before we go forward, I do want to make a quick comment. Mr. Register fell ill today and was unable to reach us, and Mr. Coble is out of town, so unable to join us, and Mr. Coble's out of town. So this is the first time in my 7 years here we've had 3 people, 3 board members here, but it is an official meeting, so maybe it'll be a little bit quicker, right? So we're gonna go ahead and, what, is that just wishful thinking?
No, I just thought that was cute of you.
Okay. All right. So first I need a motion to approve the minutes of the special board meeting of January 20th and the regular board meeting of February 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
Any additions, corrections, gentlemen? Okay, Mr. Zucker.
Ms. Pepler,
Yes.
Mr. Silverman,
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes.
And first, we have awards and recognitions, and the superintendent is going to take us through those.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So we'll begin our recognitions tonight by honoring a Heights High senior who's had several remarkable academic achievements this year. We're extremely proud to announce that Thomas Ferris has been named a candidate in the 2015 U.S. Presidential Scholars Program. Thomas was one of only 3,900 candidates selected from nearly 3.5 million students expected to graduate from the United States high schools in 2015. Scholars are selected on the basis of superior academic and artistic achievements, leadership qualities, strong character, and involvement in community and school activities. The Commission on Presidential Scholars will make final selections of the scholars in May. I'd also like to add that Thomas is one of 2 Heights High finalists in the National Merit Scholarship Program. Thomas currently attends Cleveland State University as part of the Ohio Post-Secondary Enrollment Option. This semester, his courses include physics, abstract algebra, and numeric analysis, a very impressive schedule indeed. Thomas' first college choices are Vanderbilt University or the honors colleges at either Ohio State, or the Ohio State, or the University of Oklahoma. He plans to pursue undergraduate degrees in both mathematics and physics. Thomas, you make Tiger Nation extremely proud, and we are confident that you will continue to achieve academic excellence in the future. Let's give Thomas a round of applause. So, Thomas, if you'll please come front and bring a certificate. Yes. And we would like to present a certificate to you from our board president, Nancy Pepler. In the center. Okay, so take right here. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, so.
Somehow the silly sunglasses don't fit.
Thank you. Okay, and finally, I would like to recognize the Heights High students. Let's see, Jonah Mariota, Michael Carter, Ariana Murray. These 3 vocalists were selected to perform with OMEA All-State Choir at the Cleveland Convocation Center on February 6th. This is remarkable because of 1,000 students who auditioned, only 81 were selected. One other Heights student, Ian Tucson Van Manen, was also selected for the choir, but he was unable to attend tonight's meeting. These 3 students also competed in the OMEA solo and ensemble competition on January 24th. All three received the highest possible score of superior in the soloist competition. We're very proud to have such talented, hardworking young people represent our district. So let's give these students a round of applause. And Ariana, Jonah, and Michael, would you please come forward to accept your certificate and take your picture with Nancy Pepler, Board President, and me.
It's good to see you again.
Okay, so this will conclude our recognitions for the evening.
Okay, so we're moving on in the agenda. We don't have any, we do have requested
so-
audience, but it's at 7:30.
Right.
We're moving that later in the agenda. Some people will be here from Heights Community Congress. So let's go ahead and take the statements from the audience, and we have one person who has signed up this evening to address the board, and Malia Lewis, please come forward.
Good evening, Dr. Dixon, President Pepler, members of the board. Sorry, microphone. My name is Malia Lewis. Last January, during one of the early public community meetings about the high school renovation program, I became involved in the community working group on career and technical education. Since then, I have been chairing this committee, and we have been working quite hard on writing an improvement plan for career and technical education. You have received that, I hope, electronically, and I have brought paper copies for you just so that you have them. I don't have any prepared remarks, but I am available to answer any questions if you have any. So,
Some questions.
Thank you.
and I have extras for Mr. Coble and Mr. Register, and they are back.
Thank you. And Mr. Silverman does have a question or
I
two.
had a couple questions.
Yes, sir.
A couple ones. First one would be you've got the plan has a CTE marketing person, references a CTE guidance counselor, and then, I can't read my handwriting, career development staffer, I suppose. Are those all three full-time equivalents?
The guidance counselor and the career development coordinator are current positions that exist, and I believe they are full-time positions.
And then, so the marketing position, are you advocating for a full-time, or is that be,
We would like to see the coordinator of marketing and partnership development be a full-time position, yes.
and do you have any, you folks don't have any kind of cost estimate on that, I would imagine?
No.
Okay. Is it possible to, I know I put together a grid from materials, I think Don Frederick probably gave me, of different programs. I'd be very curious to see, because you folks are advocating a couple of specific programs that would be introduced. I'd be very curious to see if what the information I had is accurate as far as what other programs neighboring and the larger ones in the county, who's offering what programs. And so like to.
We don't have that in an easily presentable format. You can poke around the web and find it, but that's the sort of thing that we think the director of CTE should be involved in doing, is figuring out what is our local market, what's our local competition, so to speak, and then being able to make the right sorts of choices for where we should be filling in gaps or providing supplemental programs.
Yeah, because that's what I was looking for, was because on the materials I received when I was looking, I was like, okay, we're advocating culinary, but we're not advocating other programs. I was curious to see, because of who's doing what and why. And then I know if culinary has been a flashpoint, I'd be very curious to see, I was talking about Beechwood's program, I'd be very curious when we're looking at that, to know about other programs, Lakewood, Shaw.
There's a culinary program at Beechwood that's part of the Excel Tech Consortium. There is also a program in culinary at Jane Shaw, which is part of CMSD. Those are the two that I know about. Those are the two that I've spoken to people at. Yeah.
Again, I view Beechwood because of their funding ability to be sort of different than some of the other systems I saw on the grid. So I was very curious to see, or I would be curious to see, what the systems who don't have Beechwood's resource base, what they're doing, so that if the advocacy is for a program, are we doing something comparable to Beechwood, or are we doing something comparable to systems who have a funding base similar to our own?
Right. Well, there are different structures. We have a consortium, which is not a. We can't levy taxes for our consortium, so it has to be funded through the specific school districts. There are a whole slew of programs available in these large organizations that are called something vocational, something or others, which do their own taxing. And we can't compare ourselves to them because of that main funding difference. But again, there's a point where we as a community group had a limited amount of time to do research.
Oh, yeah.
And every time we spoke to somebody, we learned way more than we knew what to do with.
Yeah, and Eric, if I could just ask if maybe you have one other quick question, because I probably shouldn't have just said, let's go ahead and have the questions, because typically we don't do this back and forth during
Right,
statements
yeah,
from
yeah.
the audience. But I
Sorry.
think, no, Malia, you have done such a great job. You all have raised this in a way that it needed to be raised, and I appreciate all the work that you've done.
Thank you.
I just believe that maybe we should give it more time and more attention at a work session, possibly. I'm not trying to cut you
Oh,
off,
right,
Eric.
yeah.
I'm just saying, I think maybe we should have really sit down with the working group and with the administration to have more of a conversation, obviously in front of the public, and not just do it as part of statements from the audience. That's all I'm suggesting.
I was just killing time till
I
I had
appreciate
Congress. So
You've got until 7:30.
It's dead air.
No,
so
they're
no,
here.
Then I
do
don't
you
have more questions.
Well, I can go on about this for hours on end, as several people in the audience know, but it would make sense to try to, plan a specific meeting, and if there are questions in advance, we will happily, do some research to provide you with answers in advance, because a fair amount of this requires more delving or gathering and making it presentable, because a lot of the information is very hard to decipher, and it takes a little bit of time to make it somehow, so you can compare apples to apples.
But I agree, and thank you. The team has really worked hard and given us some viable options to look at, and thus the reason we've already posted the position that we're.
Which I am
hoping-
extremely excited about.
So I concur that we can possibly add this to a work session to have a deeper discussion about.
So it's just a matter of figuring out when
Yes.
that would be.
And we can talk about that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to jump back now to requested audience, and we have some people here from Heights Community Congress who will come forward and join us at the podium. I understand we have Sue Nigro, Martha Goebbels, and Ralph Day.
Sue can't speak, unfortunately.
Okay.
She has severe laryngitis.
Okay.
She'll be weighing
Sue
in
can
on
wave. Hi, Sue.
Right. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity just to run this by you. Come stand beside me. Heights Community Congress became engaged in this issue when one of the citizens said to us they had been looking at real estate listings and seen this big ugly red 3 beside their neighbor's house. And they said, what does this mean? Where does this color come from? What is this all about? And we're going, we actually don't know. But as we delved into it a bit, we realized as we do fair housing audits that these numbers have a huge impact on how people view the house they're looking at. It isn't neutral anymore. It's seen in a negative light. So
we did research to try to find out, so what is this very prominent number that appears next to houses for sale? Colored yellow, red, or green. What we learned was that the organization behind these numbers is Great Schools.
Could you step over toward the mic a little?
okay, there's switchboard.
So what we learned was the organization behind these numbers is called Great Schools, and they are connected to a venture capital firm out in California that are concerned in investing in charter schools and online education technology and educational technology generally. So they are the source of these numbers. They're not a neutral party by any means. So then we looked into the definition behind the number from 1 to 10. And in Ohio, it turns out that the way they calculate that number is by taking 3 very unlike and very different measures of value-added, proficiency test, and college readiness, and kind of average them together for the school. And of course, if you think about that, this is really a meaningless number, and you lose the information or the fact that a school may have a high value-added, but a lower performance score and so forth. So this is actually a very odd thing for an educational outfit to do, but nonetheless, the final thing we learned is that these numbers or ratings by Great Schools are very widely publicized. They're all over Zillow.com and Realtor.com, and I've seen that in the past they've been used in U.S. News and World Report or Business Week and so forth. So somehow, through marketing or whatever, they're gaining a lot of exposure and a large following.
So basically, Heights Community Congress has been doing fair housing testing for many years in
Step
Cleveland
over to the
Heights.
mic.
Okay, I know, you need this
But,
microphone.
well, for the
Yeah.
people that are watching on TV.
Oh, okay, sure. So we are looking at this all of a sudden, like Ralph has done research for us and he's written reports, but here we have this new wrinkle, which is the discrimination through these ratings and what in the heck are we really going to do about it? And at this point, we don't exactly have answers, but one thing we know, that the average person living in Cleveland Heights or University Heights is not looking at real estate listings because they live here already. So they're just not paying attention unless someone is like, oh, my neighbor's house is for sale. I wonder what they're asking for the house. And we really are having, we have a great need to get the rest of the community kind of alerted to this, because we feel if more people know about it, then maybe somebody out there is going to help us with some kind of a way to address it. And we're having a seminar in April, but we need like partners and other people that care. And that's why we had two very nice meetings with Cal and Ron, and we wanted to bring this to the Board of Education. So Ralph has got a few points to make here.
Well, yeah, thank you, Martha. So this is a challenge, and the question for us is, so what is an appropriate response to these very public numbers? Well, the recommendation to the public would be, number one, if you really want information about schools, just disregard this number from great schools, because it really is not a meaningful number. Number two, if you want metrics, go to a trusted source, and the Department of Education, Ohio Department of Education is the source of the official metrics about schools. But number three, and probably most importantly, is for everybody, the public, to understand and appreciate the qualities of schools, the qualitative attributes that schools have that cannot be quantified or captured in metrics. And here I want to put in a plug for the recent performance, Reaching Musical Heights, that occurred at Severance Hall. I was there, and just blown away, tremendously impressive. The value that was exhibited at that concert is something that will never be captured in a metric or on a test. So these are the kinds of things that we would like to be communicated, and to counteract a kind of mindless or simplistic or meaningless use of metrics that we see.
Where are we on our presentation? Okay, so what we've done so far, and that's, we've composed a letter to the great schools asking several key questions. One, what do they say that their combined measure means? And secondly, why do they allow their ratings to be published by Zillow and others without definition or warnings? I think that's of the ratings limitation. And do Zillow and others pay great schools for the use of the ratings? Like the old follow the money, that could be very telling to us. So on April 24th, we are having a program at the library where we're presenting the information to the public to ignore these ratings, to rely only on a trusted source for school metrics, and to look at the whole range of qualities that the schools have to offer students. So we're trying to approach interested parties like you all, the Board of Education, for suburbs, maybe the ACLU, others for partnering with us, so it's not just one little group that's going out there. So that's basically our pitch, and we want to know how do we get to partner with the Board of Education, because that would be very helpful.
Thank you. So I guess my question would be, what are you looking for in a partnership? For that specific seminar, or?
Correct.
Okay, and what would you like to see from the Board of Education?
Well, we'd love to have someone come and be part of a panel presentation that night, the April 24th night, so that we are not just up there listening to ourselves speak on the issue, but it would give a lot of gravitas to the presentation to have the Board of Education. And then we'd like to, write some letters, but just saying that the Board of Education supports the effort, and that we would continue as we get information to share it with you, and as other groups that are working on maybe not the same issue, but parallel issues where we could find common cause with one another, that could be most helpful.
I guess another thought or idea, if Heights Community Congress representing fair housing, we would also like to have a partner in communicating the message about the schools, about the value of the schools. And, if there is some way, through pieces of information, through website articles, to assist in the communication piece. I think fair housing and school value is a natural partnership and kind of a natural message to go together.
Because Heights Community Congress message is we have worked for many years to make sure people have equal access to the housing they want. Now, we're very, very concerned about resegregation. And so when the community is put in such a negative light, just because the schools get this very bad rating, it makes it less attractive, and then the diversity that's here is gradually diminished, which doesn't serve why people want to live here from the beginning. So that's like kind of where the two groups come together.
So it's more of a community dialogue.
Yeah, to get the community dialogue going and to have people understand that what they value about the community is the diversity, which is not going to be maintained if the schools continue to siphon off people that would otherwise want to live here.
Right. I think the message should also go back to that statement you said, that those qualitative attributes, that we're using an opportunity to highlight the great
Right.
things that are happening in the district, and how that translates to the activities of our community. So I think that is a viable platform for that conversation to take place. But I also think that information regarding who is supporting that website and
That
those
that
ratings.
metric,
I think
yeah,
those
yeah.
metric, I think that's some important information to
Agreed.
have, so that the district is not taking a position and not really knowing the behind the scenes regarding that rating. So I think some more clarity maybe regarding those ratings and what that means, and I think that's going to be important.
Yeah, that makes sense. And of course, we are sending a letter with questions to the Director of Data at Great Schools, so we
Okay.
can get some
Right.
information, yes.
Okay.
So is that something that you think somebody, you
Yeah,
or
we can
somebody
talk on a
else
team,
would?
yes,
So
so
you
we can
can
talk about
determine who might
who
be able
would
to join
join it,
them
yes.
on the panel?
Okay.
And have you connected with the Heights Coalition for Public Education?
I've been attending their meetings.
Right.
And I've met Jan Ressiger, and of course, I know Susie Kaiser.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
So
we-
I think they would be a natural partner
Yeah.
also.
Definitely.
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Okay.
Just I'll take a minute because, we've got to meet before. First, and I mentioned at a different meeting, the research you've done is really outstanding research.
Thank you.
You took it out on yourselves to do this. You didn't hire a
Right.
high-powered firm, although maybe, Ralph, you are a high-powered firm. So, no offense intended. No, but honestly, it's very good research. And the fact is, you approach an issue from a totally different direction than
Yeah.
we probably would come to the exact same conclusion, but sort of interesting that coming from a different direction. So I know all of us thank you for the work that you've done toward this, and for the what's behind the work and what you're trying to get done here. I think that only good can come of this type of thing. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do you have anything here?
No, it sounds like educational redlining by a biased third party. So I mean,
Yeah, it's
that's,
a very good contact.
I like that term. I think it fits. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yep.
Godspeed, definitely. In my opinion, whatever we can do,
Do it, yeah.
we gotta do.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you.
Good.
Okay, so we're moving on to the superintendent's report.
So we have just some recommendations. So the recommendation to approve the resolution with ESC. And this is a recommendation that comes forth every year during this time. And we have several services that ESC provides for the district. So I'd like to move forward with the recommendation for the 2015-16 and 16-17 school years.
Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Any questions? Mr. Zucker?
Let me see, where are we? Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes. This isn't that hard, and I'm still not finding.
In a second, we have 3 field trips. Fairfax elementary students are going to Calgo Valley Environmental Education Center in Peninsula, Ohio, scheduled for March 6th through, oh, they left today.
They did leave today, apparently.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we have our university, our model UN conference, field trip in Columbus on the 15th through 16th. Those are 6th through 8th graders. And then we have our Heights High students of Promise field trip to Atlanta, Georgia, and that's May 13th through the 17th. So I would like for approval of those 3 field trips.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes. Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, moving on, we have personnel. It looks like I can take items E 1 through 7 together. Can I have a motion to approve the personnel items?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Mr. Zucker?
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes. Ms. Pepler?
Yes. Okay, on to business services. And I believe we have to take each of these items 1 through 3 separately. So, item 1 is a recommendation to accept the guaranteed maximum price amendment. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Chagallus. And
I'm going to
Mr.
turn it
O'Brien.
right over
If you
to
could,
Pat O'Brien.
yeah.
Okay, this is for additional work over at the Wiley project. It is to put the wireless access points and the data cabling into the modulars and through the corridors. It's to extend our paging system, so we have PA out in the modulars, and upgrade our PA system in the existing building. It is also to relocate the wireless countdown clocks that we have at the high school. We're going to bring those over here. It's a nice feature that, since we put that in, the administrators were very hopeful that we could relocate it, so we're relocating that. We're taking some of the other data, we're taking some switches out of our network closets and bringing them over here, and also relocating security cameras, about 82 security cameras from the high school, so that we've got coverage in all the corridors, inside and outside. And that's what this work is to do, is to move items from the high school up here. So we have data, security, paging, and that's this is, I think, the next to last package you'll have for the Wiley campus. One more package after this will be, we're bidding right now, kitchen equipment, with some minor upgrades to the kitchen, landscaping, and some fencing. So we have those as well, be forthcoming.
Okay. Any questions?
Well, yeah, you answered my one of my 3 questions, which was that we only have one more package. So when does that come before us? The next meeting?
Bids are due Friday of this week, but typically the process is the construction manager at risk has to evaluate the bidders. They look at various qualifications, assumptions. After they've done their evaluations, then they meet with our team and with the design team, and they make a recommendation. I would anticipate that the next board work session is when we would have that one coming for you. 24th.
So then-
March 24th.
So then at that junction, when that package is through, then we should have the final total for Wiley as an enabling project.
Correct.
Okay. My other 2 questions, because we're talking about Wiley, photographs, images, reports for next door. Will we contractor photos of what's going on? Okay.
Yeah, I think usually we get a report every Monday from the folks on the CMR team. Yeah, we have a report and we have photos. We have a large number of photos they're taking. You may, if you haven't, I don't know, it depends on where you were in the community, but the modular buildings did show up this week. They're
Okay.
setting them on piers now. I know we've got some photos out there. There should be some photos on the website by now.
And then my other question would be, we're doing the 3 vehicles for security at Wiley. Where are we on the process of doing that?
Yeah, Scott Smith did get bids for that and has a recommendation on George Petkak's desk, and he's going to process a purchase order soon.
What are we getting? Because the reason I asked is because we were going to use that, the idea at least
Yeah.
was to repurpose them going into the future, so I was just curious what we were.
These are a small-size van that are similar to the kinds of utility vans that we used previously, with the thought being that in the future, we would just reduce our fleet by those 3 vans at some future time when we no longer need to have the sheriff deputies, so we can make use of those vehicles.
That's why I was asking. Okay.
Any other questions on this? Okay, Mr. Zucker.
Mr. Zucker, yes. Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Okay, item F2, I'd like a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the execution of 3 non-binding proposals for lease of certain portions of the Coventry building.
So moved.
Second.
So keep in mind that these are lease proposals. With your authorization, that would then trigger our action to work with these 3 providers to develop a formal lease that we would bring back to the board for your approval. These are 3 separate organizations that provide community-based mental health services. Jeff Johnston brought these organizations to our attention, looking for some space to provide service to families and students in the district. We looked at Coventry. There's space available to accommodate their needs, and we'd like to offer a lease to them.
What space in Coventry are they going into the spaces in the library?
They're small offices around the library areas where they would be housed.
Well, Ensemble Theater is sort of oozed out of their space. Are they have a space where they're storing all their props? Is that in their lease, or are we just being nice?
We're in the process of negotiating a new lease with them right now, and they have been utilizing some additional space, and we're talking with them about whether if they desire to continue using that. We've, have said that they need to include that in their lease, and their lease rent would go up. And so we're having those discussions right now.
And I think the Future Heights and Reaching Heights were supposed to they were looking at doing a wall. Is that still in play?
I don't know where the status of that is,
Okay.
Eric. I don't know.
I just figured to ask while
Yeah.
you're at the microphone. Okay.
Mr. Zucker?
Ms. Pepler?
Yes.
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes.
And finally, under business services, I need a motion to approve, motion to accept the 3 donations as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Think there'll be any controversy? Mr. Zucker?
Thank everybody.
Ms. Pepler?
Yes,
Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes. Thank you, Deborah.
Thank you.
thanks. Okay, so moving on to finance. Can I have a motion to approve item G1, the financial reports as
So
shared?
moved.
Second.
This- Okay, Mr. Zucker?
Sorry. Mr. Silverman?
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes. Ms. Pepler?
Yes. No, wait, what?
No, why he's not here.
Mr. Gaynor is on a
Yes.
much-deserved vacation. So, we moved to the board president's report, and I guess what I'd like to say is that they're, similar to what we heard from the good folks from Heights Community Congress, there's been a lot bubbling in the community about the issue of testing. There's been a lot bubbling in the state. There's been a lot bubbling nationally. And I know that the superintendent and the administration, I said this last time, but have been looking at it and trying to address this issue, because some of it is not under our control and some of it is under our control. So at the risk of putting you on the spot for the board president's report, Dr. Dixon, I'd love to, I know that we communicate a little bit earlier today, and I'd like to give you an opportunity to say a few words,
Thank you.
even though it's the board president's report.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. We know, as you stated, we're in a culture where this test mania is kind of overshadowing good teaching practices that we know should be happening in the classrooms. we have consistently said to our teachers and our administrators that despite that culture, we have to ensure that good teaching is happening, and that the assessments that we are placing importance on are those formative assessments. And what formative assessments do, it will give teachers immediate data about how students are performing, not these end of the year or these tests, these standardized testing that the state is pushing that really does not, in our estimation, measure what the current standards that we're teaching now. And there are some gaps, and we know that there are some gaps. So some of the things that we have done and we're going to continue to do is continue to review our assessments. And this is something that started last spring in Ed Services, where teachers, along with Allison Bird, our district testing coordinator, looked at the assessments that we're using in the district and really getting to a place where we're narrowing down that list. So we're going to continue to make sure that we're reviewing those assessments. And we're going to continue to make sure that those assessments that we are administering are aligned and they're appropriate. Are they aligned to the curriculum that we're teaching? And they should be. And they're appropriate for grade levels. Are we making sure that our students that need accommodations, our ELL population, so we're making sure that our tests are appropriate. We're going to continue to streamline and eliminate tests that are found to be of low quality, that are redundant, or that are inappropriately used. We don't want those tests. We want high-quality assessments, and we're going to ensure that those are happening with our district assessments. We're going to ensure that we have greater transparency. So once we get those tests and we know how we're assessing our students, we want to make sure that the public understands that what these tests means for students and what these tests mean for parents. Those good formative assessments that we have. We're going to make sure that we're improving the use of assessments to enhance our classroom instruction. And then, we're adamant about curtailing the counterproductive of test preps. We don't want our teachers using quality instructional time to test prep students. That's not what we are pushing, and we do not want that to happen. We're going to continue to provide professional development for our teachers on proven positive forms of assessments. Those assessments that we know work well, we're going to continue to make sure that our teachers have the professional development and the support that they need to make sure that those assessments are done appropriately. And then reporting our results of our efforts to the public. So as we streamline those assessments, make sure that they're the appropriate assessments, we're going to educate our community about what those assessments mean, because we don't want our students waking up and fearful of going to these high-stakes testing. That's not what we're in the business to do. Unfortunately, that's what the state has imposed, and we want to make sure that we're complying with the state, but at the same time, we want to make sure that what we have control of, and those are our district assessments, and how we're making sure that our students, that our teachers have good feedback from the quality teaching that they're doing, that's appropriate. So we're going to continue to have some more dialogue. Board President and I have talked about having a work session in April to really talk openly in a forum about what this testing, what these practices are doing. The board has last April signed a resolution with called the Principles That Unite Us, and we're going to make sure that document, it becomes alive in the district, because there are some 7 principles in this document, and one of the principles states that assessments should be used to improve instruction. And that's stated there. And it states that, I want to read this, I wrote this out quickly, that assessment should be used to improve instruction. Excessive testing has narrowed the content and skills of our students. Our students are taught. We must end excessive testing and teaching to the test and focus instead on a rich and rigorous curriculum that keeps our students engaged in school and help them succeed in college, careers, and civil society. We stated that, the board approved this, and this is our commitment, along with 7 other things. Public schools are public institutions. Our voices matter. Strong public schools create strong communities. That goes back to what you just stated. We want strong public schools because we know that that builds communities. Quality teaching must be delivered by committed, respectful, and supported educators. Schools must be welcoming and respectful places for all, and our schools must be fully funded for success and equity. This district is committed to this resolution, and we're going to make sure that this resolution comes alive as we move forward with our strategic planning. So we want to make sure that we create a culture that uses appropriate tests to inform instruction and to make sure that all of our students are college and or career ready.
Thank
So that's
you.
our commitment.
Well, I think this is an example of something where there are elements of this issue where our hands are tied, but there are other elements of the issue and what we're experiencing where our community and our very engaged, enlightened, thoughtful community has really pushed us
Yes.
as a board and an administration to take a stronger stand on this issue and to be engaged in advocacy,
Yes.
and to really spend more time as an administration to look at how we can address it, even with those limitations that we are given.
Right.
So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I know that this board is committed to supporting, pushing that even further.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, do we have any unfinished business? Any new business? Okay. Any board committee reports?
You have anything?
I'll let you do the.
No,
No, I'm going to do Reaching Heights first, that you can do alumni.
No, you can go first then.
Thank you so much. So Reaching Heights, as was pointed out before, Reaching Musical Heights was actually just 1 week ago today. It seems like a lot longer because we went through Antarctica and the other weather patterns. Amazing that it came off the way it did because we were closed that day. The school district was closed that day. So, you know, for those of you who, everyone believes that everyone practices and are ready, but that last practice is the most important practice. And so good for all the students who performed, and great for all the staff who made that happen, and for all the work that went in from Reaching Heights. They did a great job on that. So it was quite a success. It was a beautiful evening all the way around. So that's one report. My other report is from the University Heights Technology Committee. Simply, we wound up needing to postpone the meeting we were supposed to have. We now have a meeting next week, so I'll report on that afterward. The City Council did adopt the proposal, the suggestion of the Technology Committee, and they are getting Apple iPads for the council members.
Let's see, the Facilities Accountability Committee did not have a meeting last month, but they have one coming up this month, but I think if we're on the 24th, they may be preemptive.
No, it's on the 19th,
Well,
I think. 26th.
So it's pretty much neither of those.
Sorry,
That's fair.
when is our next board meeting? In
the 24th.
So FAC is actually going to be, okay, so
Right
they
after.
changed it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve. Sorry about that.
It's right there.
Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. The Alumni Foundation, or Heights Gear, is doing their next sale open house sale at Coventry on March 28th. The postcards are on the counter in the front. The Alumni Foundation's Pancake Breakfast is on April 19th, 9 to 12:30, and then tours of the building will go on till 2, since it's the last Pancake Breakfast for 2 years before we come back to Heights. And hopefully soon, or in the next week or two, this year's inductees for the Heights High Hall of Fame will be announced as well. So that's all I have for my committees. And you reminded me I need to find out if University Heights Rec Board is meeting, since I'm still their liaison and they don't invite me to any meetings. So that's all I've got.
Correspondence and announcements. I have two. The last performance of the Cleveland Heights High School swim cadets at the old pool is this coming week. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights. both of my daughters are swim cadets, and they've been having a lot of fun preparing and working hard, and so I'm excited. It's a lot of fun. So I hope people can join us. And we have a joint meeting, the school board has a joint meeting with the Cleveland Heights City Council on the 30th of March.
Yes.
Monday, the 30th, I believe it's at 6:30 in council chambers in Cleveland Heights, but as we've had that finalized, it's reminded me that I need to reach out to University
That's
Heights and have that conversation with them about scheduling another joint meeting with that body as well. So that's open to the public, and I encourage you to attend and listen to the conversation between the city council and the school board on the 30th, 6:30 in Cleveland Heights City Hall.
And then tomorrow night, at the Heights, in their community center, what is it called?
Social room.
Social room, thank you. We have our strategic planning community meeting. So please come out and join us tomorrow evening. I think it starts at
6:30.
6:30. To join the conversation, and we want your feedback. We've had 8 facilitated discussions already with different stakeholders throughout the community, and tomorrow night we're going to open it up to anyone. We have students who we've had facilitated discussion with students, staff members, realtors, and other stakeholders who really want to see our school district be successful. And so it's a large visioning activity, so please, I welcome you to come out tomorrow night if you would like. And we also have some online surveys that are run out to students, our teachers, our community. We really want some feedback of what should Cleveland Heights, University Heights student, what a graduate looks like, and how can the other entities partner with us to make sure that we have a strong schools, because we know strong communities want strong schools and vice versa. So please come out and join us tomorrow night.
Okay, any other announcements? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Ms. Pepler,
Yes.
Mr. Silverman,
Yes.
Mr. Zucker, yes.